What's an injury you sustained? And lied about how it actually happened, because it was too embarrassing. I was shit-faced and fell in the parking lot of my friend's apartment, and busted my face wide open at her birthday party. The birthday party just so happened to be the night before a second date with this really cute girl I met on Tinder. Went on the date, and told the girl that a dog at work had knocked me over, and I fell on my face. I work with dogs, and me being put on my ass by a Great Dane or some other huge pup isn't unusual, and she understood. While on the date, some guys came up to me and rudely asked me WTF happened to my face. My Tinder date grabbed my hand and made up some story about how I got in a fight defending her honor in a bar, or some nonsense. I could hardly keep a straight face while she was telling the story, but she sold the shit out of it. It wasn't until a few days later I told her the real story of how I got hurt. Tinder date and I are getting married soon. I was once buttering toast with my face really close to it. I like my butter to be spread precisely. Then I sneezed and slammed my head on the counter, effectively knocking myself out, and had to go to the ER to be treated for a concussion. In 3rd grade I was holding a pencil in my fist, point up. I sneezed, and face planted into it. I'm 24 now, and every once in a while someone tells me that I have blue ink on my forehead. I then have to tell them that it's actually a scar from stabbing myself in the face mid-sneeze. I can sympathize. I once punched a bowling ball because I was frustrated. It turns out bowling balls are pretty hard. Broke my hand. It was swollen and bloody. Told my boss at work I slammed my hand in a door. It's still broken. This was like 6 months ago. 6 months? Did all your fingers break? If you give him a firm handshake it sounds like you're squeezing a plastic water bottle. I got surgery a few years ago on my knees as I had dislodged some loose cartilage in the joint, and also torn a bit of my meniscus. At the time I was playing a ton of ultimate frisbee, so I just told people it was that. It actually happened when I was getting up from a chair. Hahaha. I dislocated my kneecap playing ultimate frisbee, and was embarrassed, so I told people I was sparring MMA. Chair ultimate frisbee MMA. I was removing facial hair using a remover cream. I ended up leaving it on for too long, which caused burns. I told people I dropped hot noodles on my face. Then you have to explain how you did that. I have a scar that crossed my left eyebrow. It looks badass, and I made it during a fight against a man with a knife. At least that is what I tell everybody, because saying my PS2 fell on my face cause I tried to lift it while not paying attention may be too stupid. Dude, I have a scar just like that. I got mine when a tree branch fell on me when I was helping my dad trim some oak trees in our yard, but actually I ran into the corner of a wall during a pillow fight. I once fell out of bed and cracked my head open on a metal frame. Blood everywhere, ER visit, stitches, etc. I was about 6 years old. I still have the scar decades later. My mother literally changed our beds even though we really couldn't afford it to say for once. The truth is, I didn't want to go to bed, so I flung myself out of bed to pretend to be hurt, and maybe get to stay up for a short while longer. I mean, you got to stay up. I have a 1.5 stab wound scar on my left bicep. When I was younger and attractive girls asked me how it happened, I would tell them it happened during a fight where someone pulled a knife on me. Actually, I worked in a butcher shop of a market when I was in my late teens. Part of my job was to collect all the carving knives from the prep area, put into a large plastic bin, and carry them behind the deli case to the kitchen to wash. One time coming back out of the kitchen, I failed to notice that someone had opened the trapdoor to the basement, in my direct path. While I was in the kitchen, the plastic bin obscured my view. I took one fateful step, opposite to the stairs side, and tumbled into the basement, with the contents of the bin raining down around me. Somehow I escaped with only a twisted ankle, and the aforementioned stab wound in my arm for which I had to go to the ER for stitches. I'll always remember being dazed, sitting at the bottom of the stairs looking up, and seeing a meat cleaver embedded in one of the steps. I was having some trouble with my heart a few months ago that caused dizziness and occasional fainting. Passed out while in the shower and sprained my wrist. Told my co-workers it was a workout injury because I passed out in the shower. Was a visual I didn't want to give everyone. I don't know enough about the Apple Watch to know if it would have helped me. but my symptoms are totally in control because of the meds I'm on, so I don't plan on getting one. Propanol is the medication I'm on. It's a beta blocker. A lot of you are asking if my heart issue was resolved, and what my diagnosis was. After several months of symptoms, I finally was diagnosed thanks to a Holter monitor my cardiologist had me wear. I wore it for 2 weeks. The monitor caught and recorded a ton of irregular heartbeats in both the upper and lower chambers in my heart that were happening daily. My heart was skipping beats, then doing extra little half beats, for lack of a proper medical term, to try to compensate. I was also having rapid heartbeats, which I already knew from checking my pulse. My doctor put me on a medication to resolve the irregular beats, and my symptoms have all gone away, unless I forget to take my meds, in which case I feel my heart having irregular beats at times. Several people are asking about my symptoms, because they are having similar symptoms. Many different heart problems can cause similar symptoms, so please don't diagnose yourself based on my story. If you're having unusual symptoms that seem like they are stemming from your heart, I urge you to see a good cardiologist as soon as you can. You won't be able to diagnose yourself from internet research, and you need medical help to prevent any long-term damage. If your doctor tells you you're fine, because you don't meet the usual criteria for heart issues, i.e., smoker, overweight, family history, etc., get another doctor and advocate for yourself. Sprained my wrist in the shower isn't the visual you want to give them, either. Got drunk. Fell on my face on pavement. Said the huge gash on my forehead down to my cheek was from rugby. To be fair, it was during a rugby social. Fully took off my nail while playing football, I said. Was playing sport. Just an intense game of sword fighting on Wii Sport Resort, and slammed my hand really hard on a table. You should just say you lost it during a sword fight. I cut my thumb with an axe. The cut was almost to the bone. I never told anyone because I was told not to play with the axe. This is when I was 6 years old. Eugene, someone should have told you to be careful with that axe. One time in chemistry I managed to get a drop of concentrated sulfuric acid on my nose. It was the most physically painful experience of my entire life. I just sat in the back of the classroom wiping tears out my eyes silently because I was too awkward to say anything. Next lesson people ask me what was up with my nose. Had an awkward time explaining how you get sulfuric acid on your nose. I just itched my nose like an idiot. In one of my chem labs in college, another student accidentally sprayed concentrated hydrochloric acid on his arm while trying to use a pipette bulb. He kept trying to act like nothing happened because he didn't want to have to use the safety shower, but he had burns on his arm and ended up sprinting to the bathroom to try to rinse it in the sink. That is what the shower and eye wash stations are there for. I haven't exactly lied about it, but depending on who I'm talking to, I have been leaving out some important details. I got my wife an electric scooter for her birthday. The day she got it, we went out for a ride. I was on my electric skateboard. It had recently rained a bit, so the pavement was a little wet, but not too bad as long as you were careful. I got the idea to pretend to fart and get a speed boost from it. So I made a farting sound and totally gunned it. Since the pavement was damp, my board slid out from under me, and I went down directly in front of my wife. She didn't have time to stop, so she also fell. We both got some scrapes and bruises. Unfortunately, she got it worse than I did. When telling the story, I've left out the fart boost part if it's someone I'm not really close to. Was getting hot and heavy with my boyfriend at the time. He reached under my shirt and unhooked my bra and then pulled my shirt and bra up over my head at the same time. As he did this, the underwire in my cheap ass bra popped out and left a huge scratch right across my forehead. I made up some story about digging through my closet looking for something and getting scratched by a hanger. I was getting hot and heavy with my girlfriend once. A weird thing about me is that sometimes when I'm making love on my back, my hands, feet, and face go all numb and tingly, so I didn't notice the handcuffs I was wearing had cut a deep long cut into my wrist until it was too late, and everything was covered in blood.